and a sentence it never believed it would hear. Raila Odinga is dead.
It is with deep sorrow that I inform the nation of the passing on of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, our former Prime Minister, Kenya's foremost statesman.
In minutes, a nation froze, traffic stopped, shops closed, phones vibrated with the same alert. Baba is gone. And then came the second shock. Hundreds of thousands lining up, not for food, not for fuel, but to see his body one last time. Kenya did not just lose a man, it lost an era. He was finally laid to rest in Kang'o, Jaramogi, and that moment was not just the end of Raila, it was the beginning of another chapter. Kenya has entered a chapter it never imagined. A chapter without Raila Amolo Odinga. The man who shaped Kenya's democracy for 5 decades, the man who protested, negotiated, challenged, ran for president 5 times but never won, and survived every political storm, is suddenly not here. And Kenya is learning the truth. You can remove a man from politics, but you cannot remove politics from a country that has never prepared for his absence. This is a story of a nation in transition, a nation without its most familiar opposition voice, a nation without Baba. In today's Explainer, join me as we explore Kenya without Raila, the vacuum, the chaos, and the question no one dares to ask. Who can replace a man who was truly irreplaceable?
The king is dead, but long live the crown. Joey! Joey!
Raila Odinga was not just a politician, he was a political season, a climate, a permanent fixture in Kenya's weather. Every election, every protest, every handshake, every constitutional debate had his shadow somewhere in the background. He was the man who refused to retire, the man who could not be ignored, the man many believed would outlive politics itself. But in 2025, Kenya woke up to a reality it had avoided for 50 years. Life without Raila, and that changed everything. Most political transitions are planned. Kenya's was not. For decades, the country ran on a political operating system called wait for Raila's move. He moved, the country shifted. He protested, the streets exploded. He calmed down, the market stabilized. Every government since 2002 treated him like the unofficial minister of democracy, a man you negotiated with even when you didn't want to.
Mimi nataka niwaambie mapema mchana. My friends, sahau mambo ya handshake.
Remove that man and suddenly every politician wants to be him. Today, Kenya's political fields look like a relay race where the baton fell and everyone is scrambling to pick it up. The opposition collapse. Let's talk about the opposition. For years, Raila was the opposition. ODM was Raila. Azimio was Raila. Resistance was Raila. Without him, it is chaos. ODM has split into functions. The veterans who still believe the party must remain under the Odinga legacy. The ambitious middle class of politicians who want the top seat now. The young digital warriors who believe politics should leave the streets and enter TikTok, X, and live streams. There is no clear leader, no clear ideology, no clear strategy, just noise, confusion, and a desperate attempt to fill a void left by a titan. The rise of Generation Z. But while the old guard fights, Gen Z rises. They are bold, they are emotional, they are fearless, and they don't care who you are. They topple hashtags like governments, they expose scandals in minutes, they live stream protests. They crowdfund lawyers. They turn memes into movements. They defy political godfathers. They reject tribal labels. They refuse to be sold to political alliances. In Raila's time, he led protests. In this era, Gen Z organizes themselves. In many ways, Gen Z is Kenya's new opposition. Not ODM, not Wiper, not any tribal coalition. And unlike Raila, you cannot predict Gen Z. There is no one to call, no handshake to negotiate, no leader to silence. This is a new political animal, uncontrollable, unfiltered, unstoppable. Nyanza after Baba. For 50 years, Nyanza had one political compass, Raila Odinga. Without him, the region is experiencing an earthquake. Governors, senators, and MPs are positioning themselves as the new voice, the new kingmaker, the new successor. But here's the twist. The people are not buying it. For the first time in modern Kenyan history, Nyanza is questioning political loyalty. Not what does Raila want, but what do we want? The emotional unity Raila commanded is gone, and political fragmentation has begun. The fragmentation of the coast and western regions. Raila was not just a Luo leader, he was a national coalition builder. The coast depended on him, western depended on him, pastoralist communities leaned on him, urban poor trusted him. His absence has exposed the truth. Many regional leaders had no independent political identity. They borrowed Raila's. Now, the coast is divided. Western is disoriented, Nairobi politics is drifting, and alliances are evaporating. Kenya is entering an era of mini kingpins who have no national influence. Government without a negotiator. Love him or hate him, Raila was a stabilizer. When things got too hot, he would call for calm. When the tensions rose, he would negotiate. When protests went wild, he would step in. He stopped Kenya from collapsing more times than history will ever admit. But now, there is no Raila to call, no Raila to negotiate with, no Raila to mediate. The government is facing a new kind of resistance. One it cannot control, one it cannot intimidate, one it cannot bribe. The Raila era political manual is outdated. A new one has not been written. Raila thrived in an era where tribal identity was political identity, but his exit accelerates a major shift. Kenya is becoming less tribal and more urban, digital, and class-based. Young Kenyans do not want ethnic politics. They want jobs. They want accountability. They want development. Politicians who relied on tribal voting blocks are now confused. Their rallies are empty, their speeches ignored, their slogans outdated. Kenya is changing faster than its politicians. When Raila said come, markets listened. When he joined the government, investors smiled. When he accepted election results, the economy breathed. His absence means increased market volatility, unpredictable protests, harder negotiations between counties and the national treasury, and donor uncertainty. Kenya depended too much on personalities and too little on institutions. Now the cracks are visible. Who takes over the Odinga mantle? Is it his family? Is it ODM? Or is it a new generation of leaders? Or does the Odinga era end with Raila? For the first time in 60 years, Kenya faces the possibility that the Odinga name may not dominate opposition politics. This is the end of a dynasty, and Kenya must now redefine political identity without the Odingas at the center. What does the future look like? Kenya without Raila is entering a new era. Here's what the future holds. More political fragmentation, many leaders, no center of gravity. Gen Z dominance. They will define protests, narrative, and national demands. Decline of tribal politics. Issue-based politics will rise. Rise of tech-powered activism, AI, social media, digital movements. A new political class emerging from unexpected places: civil society, tech hubs, universities, grassroots organizations. A louder community, a weaker political elite. Politicians cannot hide anymore. Kenya's political future will be unpredictable. The country must rebuild without relying on one man. Raila Odinga is gone, but his shadow remains. His absence has exposed everything Kenya avoided: weak institutions, tribal politics, elite dependency, and the lack of a succession plan. But it has also created something powerful: a chance for Kenya to reinvent itself, to become a nation led by ideas, not personalities, by citizens, not kings, by truth, not tradition. Raila Odinga wrote the first half of Kenya's political story. The second half belongs to a new generation, a generation that does not fear power, a generation that demands accountability, a generation that is writing the future with courage and Wi-Fi. Kenya without Raila is not weaker. It is simply reborn. And the real question now is, what kind of country will Kenya choose to become?
The king is dead, but long live the crown. Joey! 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 Rest in peace, Dad.